Hello all and welcome to another Wolfpack Wargaming. You might remember this board out in front of you. I got a video series on its creation. This is Kingdom Death Monster, my custom Showdown board. And in the last video, you may recall that the board itself is pretty much done. However, I wanted to go back and do some final touch-ups to kind of finish this thing off, make it look real good. So I've got some fun things planned to finish this board off, get it all done. Before I paint it up though, let me kind of show you what we got in store. So to put some nice final touches on the board, I'm going to be doing some painting, and I'll explain that in a second. But before I do that, I wanted to show some cool things I was able to buy to really add some style to the board and give it more of a high-end look. So the first thing I was really excited to find online are some legs. I'm going to give this thing some legs. Now, it is huge, the board itself, and it's really heavy. So I found these awesome claw legs that are going to go on the base of the board. You can just see they kind of screw in. I'll be doing this towards the end of the board's construction and painting of it, but these things they're solid. I think they'll work well. Even though the board's heavy, I think that they'll withstand the weight, but really excited about that purchase. One of the other things I purchased was some corners. So again, these are like some metal brass corners that will fit on the sides. You can see they kind of nail down. It's going to cover some screws as well. So these will go on all four corners of the board. Again, just kind of giving it a cool old look. So now, as you can see, the board is painted black. I had primed it black when I assembled it. However, you can still see the screws. So one of the things I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna fill these with some putty and then sand it down. I also want to sand the sides a little bit more, get it a little bit smoother of a texture. But before I then paint this thing, which I'm gonna paint it black or like a matte black, I'm gonna put some details on the board that I'm pretty excited about, and this is going to be my first time trying to do this, so we'll see how it comes out. I'm hoping that it looks good. But anyways, I just recently got a Dremel, and I'm going to be using this Dremel to put in some kind of details. On the actual game board, you'll see that there are places for cards to go on the board, and so I want to create spaces for those cards on this board using a stencil that I made and then using a Dremel to cut out those spaces. Here's the stencil that I created for the board, and again, I'm going to put these on the board. I'm going to try to make about 8, I think, is on the actual game board going across here. So I'm going to go ahead and trace these on, and then I'm going to use a Dremel to cut out all the details. So let's get going. Alright, so we're at about 2 hours later, and you can see there we use the Dremel to carve out our design. This is where the cards are going to go on the board. You can hear my voice is super raspy. It's because of all the sawdust. Should have worn a mask. But now I'm going to hit it with a sander, small sander on the Dremel, just to kind of tidy it up a little bit. And then I'm going to cover up these screws, and we'll sand those down once it all hardens, probably tomorrow. And then we'll go ahead and hit this with some paint. Now, I'm going to be painting everything black, and then the grooves here for the cards, it's going to be a gold. I know you can't quite see the Dremel work all that well because of some of the paint marker that I have still on here, but hopefully it looks pretty good. We'll see how it comes out. Anyways, let's keep working. Alright, and there we have it. Went ahead and sanded down the etching here with the Dremel. It looks kind of scuffed up now, but that's okay. It's not going to be an issue, just kind of taking off some of the loose wood on the side there. Again, I'm going to be painting this black, and then I'm going to be doing a gold inside there. So even though obviously this doesn't look perfect by any means, when it's painted up, it's not going to look quite as messy. So I was thinking about using a sawdust and wood glue mixture to cover up some of these screws on the board. But instead, I'm going to take a chance and try to make rivets out of some green stuff here. So let's get making this green. All right, rivets on, got everything green stuffed up with the screws there, so they're all covered up, and give them about 24 hours. They'll harden up about as hard as plastic, and I'm gonna just paint over them when I paint this whole thing, and then once this is done with black, I'll probably go back over these rivets with some kind of like sturdy brass colors, so that they're not popping out too much, but you can tell they're there, and it's not just odd little bumps sticking on the board. It'll hopefully go with the aesthetic. But anyways, I guess we'll call it a night and pick back up in the morning. All right, it's the next day, and all the green stuff is nice and hard. I got some extra stuff here, you can see. Turns into like a plastic. So what we're gonna do now, I'm gonna clean this thing up. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna hit this probably with a sander just to make sure I get kind of round out some of the other sides and make sure this thing's level, and then I'll clean it up. And I picked up some paint this morning, and we're gonna throw some paint down. Alright, just cracked the lid on this paint, and it's kind of hard to tell what it is there, but it's a black. It's hopefully going to be sort of a flatter color. We'll see how it goes on. I got way too much than I needed, but I do have some other Kingdom Death projects down the line I want to work on, so got some extra just in case. So let's get painting. Alright, so we got a second coat on the top now, and you can see looking pretty good. It's still drying a little bit. Now, you'll notice there's a bunch of spots here that are missing paint, and that's was intentional because I'm going to actually be putting a gold in there so that it really stands out and pops. In fact, here's the gold I got right here for it. I think it's like greedy gold. But anyways, I also have a bronze that I'm going to put on these bolts, and so while this is drying, I'm going to go ahead and paint those because most of them are dry at this point, and then I'll probably hit them with a wash so that they're a little bit dirty looking, and then once this finishes drying, I'm going to go ahead and hit it with the gold. Alright, so I just went ahead and got all of the brass done on these bolts that we made with that green stuff, and I think it came out pretty well. I actually really like it. I might not even throw a wash on it, just because I like how it pops on the board, and feel like if I put a wash on it, it might become too dull. But anyways, it's all around the board. If you can kind of see that. Anyways, I'll take some better pictures here later on. But yeah, I like it. I think it looks good. Now I need to let it dry a little bit more, and then we'll do the gold inside of the carve outs right there. Alright, so you can see I got the gold all painted into the carving area there. I think it came out really well. Before I finish painting though, I'm going to go back over everything and just kind of hit it with black again, just kind of touching up any areas where I might have kind of painted outside the line. I think I'm also going to hit a gloss on top of these bolts just to make them pop a little bit more. But anyways, getting close to done with the painting, and then we're going to assemble the board with the legs. Alright, so I got the legs on. They went in pretty well. The screws were a little bit too, I think, small, but we'll see how it works out. when I put this on a flat surface. I think it's relatively level, but anyways, I think the legs at least look pretty cool. I'm going to put the corner caps on now, and then that will pretty much be the final piece. Alright, I got the corner caps on everything there, and the legs on, so gonna do some touch-up painting, and the next shot you see will be the finished product. And here it is in all its fine glory. Definitely had a lot of fun making this thing. Plan on making the year board for Kingdom Death Monster next, a custom board. If you play the game, you're familiar. It's the board where you're having to hunt the animal. I guess it's probably technically the hunt board. So I'm going to try making that as well, and I have another idea for another board I'd like to make for this game. Anyways, cue the artsy shots. Thanks for watching. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, please feel free to hit the like button below. And if you want to check out more Wolfpack Wargaming videos, please hit the subscribe.